Amara Chen had made a promise to herself. No more relationships, no more heartbreak, no more trusting someone only to watch them walk away. She had learned her lesson the hard way. And now she was done with love forever. At least, that is what she kept telling herself every single day. She was 28 years old and owned a small bakery in Portland. It was not a big place, just a cozy shop on a quiet street with big windows and the smell of fresh bread always floating in the air. She had built this place from nothing. Every table, every recipe, every late night spent perfecting her craft. This bakery was her whole world. It was safer than love. Cakes never broke your heart. Cookies never lied to you. Bread never promised forever and then disappeared. Her last relationship had ended badly, very badly. The man she thought she would marry had cheated on her with her own best friend. She found out on the day she was planning to tell him she loved him. That night, she cried until there were no tears left. She promised herself she would never be that foolish again. So now, at 28, Amara kept her head down and worked. 16 hours a day sometimes. Her hands were always covered in flour. Her apron was always stained with chocolate and buttercream. She did not go out. She did not date. She just baked, and baked, and baked some more. Then came that Tuesday afternoon. It was raining outside. Not a gentle rain, but the kind of heavy rain that made people run for cover. The sky was dark gray, and water was hitting the windows like tiny drums. Amara was carrying her biggest project yet. A 5-tier wedding cake with white roses made of sugar. She had worked on it for 3 days straight. It was perfect. She was walking carefully toward the display case near the front door. Her eyes were fixed on the cake. One wrong step, and everything would be ruined. She moved slowly, holding her breath, feeling the weight of all that hard work in her arms. That is when the door opened. A man walked in, but he was not looking forward. He was holding the door open for an elderly woman behind him, turning his head to make sure she got inside safely. He was tall, with dark skin and kind eyes. He wore an expensive gray suit that was getting wet from the rain. He stepped backward to let the old woman pass. And he stepped right into Amara. Everything happened in slow motion. The cake tilted. Amara screamed. She tried to save it, but it was too late. The whole thing came crashing down. Buttercream went everywhere. On the floor. On her clothes. On his very expensive suit. The beautiful sugar roses shattered into 100 pieces. For a moment, nobody moved. The elderly woman gasped. The few customers in the shop stared in shock. Amara looked at 3 days of work now destroyed on the ground. She felt tears burning in her eyes. This was a disaster. A complete disaster. She looked up at the man, ready to yell at him, ready to tell him to watch where he was going, ready to blame someone, anyone, for this horrible moment. But then, something strange happened. He started laughing. Not a mean laugh. Not a mocking laugh. A genuine, warm, surprised laugh. He looked down at his ruined suit, covered in white frosting. And he laughed like it was the funniest thing he had ever seen. And somehow, against everything she was feeling, Amara started laughing too. They stood there in the middle of the mess, 2 strangers covered in cake, laughing until their stomachs hurt. The customers started smiling. Even the elderly woman chuckled. His name was Daniel Okonkwo. He was a pediatric surgeon who had just moved to Portland for a new job at the Children's Hospital. He apologized at least 10 times. He insisted on paying for the cake. Amara told him it was not his fault. He said it absolutely was his fault. She said accidents happen. He said he would feel terrible if she did not let him pay. In the end, she refused his money. But he wrote his phone number on a napkin and slid it across the counter. "Call me," he said. "Let me at least buy you dinner to make up for this." Amara took the napkin. She looked at his number. She told herself she would throw it away as soon as he left. She never did. She put it in her pocket. And for the first time in 2 years, she felt something she had forgotten existed. Hope. 3 weeks passed after the cake disaster. 3 long weeks. Amara tried to forget about the man with the kind eyes and the warm laugh. She threw herself into work, like always. Wake up at 4 in the morning. Bake until midnight. Fall asleep. Repeat. But no matter how hard she tried, she could not stop thinking about him. She still had that napkin with his number. She had moved it from her pocket to her bedside drawer. Every night, she would look at it before turning off the lights. Every night, she would tell herself to throw it away. And every night, she would put it back in the drawer and do nothing. What was wrong with her? She had promised herself no more relationships, no more risking her heart. She had been doing so well for 2 years. Why was one stranger making her feel like this? Then one afternoon, the bell above her bakery door rang. Amara was in the back, pulling fresh bread from the oven. She wiped her hands on her apron and walked out to greet the customer. It was him. Daniel stood there in the middle of her shop, wearing a blue sweater and jeans this time. No suit to ruin today. He smiled when he saw her, and that smile made her heart do something it had not done in a very long time. It skipped. "I heard you make the best cinnamon rolls in Portland," he said. Amara raised an eyebrow. She knew he was lying. He was not here for cinnamon rolls, but she played along. "You heard right," she said. "Take a seat. I will bring you one." She watched him sit at the corner booth near the window. The afternoon light was falling on his face. He looked calm and peaceful, like someone who was exactly where he wanted to be. She brought him a cinnamon roll and a cup of coffee. She did not know why, but she sat down across from him. They talked for 3 hours. He told her about his life. He grew up in Chicago, with his mother and grandmother. His father had left when he was very young, so he never knew him. When Daniel was 12, his mother got sick. Very sick. She fought hard for 2 years. But in the end, she lost the battle. Daniel was just 14 when she passed away. "That is when I decided to become a doctor," he said. "I wanted to save other children from losing their parents too soon." Amara felt tears forming in her eyes. She understood that kind of pain. The pain of losing someone you love. The pain of feeling helpless. She told him about her own father. He did not die. He just left. One morning, when Amara was 10 years old, he packed a bag and walked out the front door. He never came back. No goodbye. No explanation. Just gone. Her mother had to raise 3 children alone. Amara learned early that people leave. People always leave. "That is why you do not let anyone close," Daniel said softly. It was not a question. It was an understanding. Amara nodded. She had never told anyone this before, not even her closest friends. But something about Daniel made her feel safe, like she could tell him anything and he would not judge her. That coffee turned into dinner. Daniel took her to a small restaurant by the river. They sat outside and watched the boats pass by. They talked about their dreams, their fears, their favorite movies. They laughed about the silliest things. Amara could not remember the last time she had laughed this much. Dinner turned into walks through the city at night. They would meet after her bakery closed and just walk for hours. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they were silent. But even the silence felt comfortable, like they had known each other for years instead of weeks. One night, they stopped at a pier with string lights hanging above the water. The lights reflected on the surface like tiny stars. It was the most beautiful thing Amara had ever seen. Daniel took her hand. His fingers were warm and gentle. "I know you are scared," he said. "I am scared too. But I have not felt this way about anyone in my entire life. You make me want to be brave." Amara looked into his eyes. She saw honesty there. She saw hope. She saw the same fear she felt in her own heart. Maybe being brave together is easier than being brave alone, she whispered. That night, under those string lights, they shared their first kiss. And Amara realized her walls were starting to crumble. For 2 months, everything was perfect. Amara woke up every morning with a smile on her face. She caught herself humming while she baked. Her customers noticed the change. "You seem different," they would say. "Happier." She would just smile and say nothing. But inside, she knew exactly why. Daniel had become her favorite person in the world. He would bring her coffee in the mornings before his shift at the hospital. She would save him the best cinnamon rolls. They spent every free moment together. Movie nights, on his couch. Cooking dinner in her tiny kitchen. Long phone calls when he had to work late. It felt like a dream. The kind of dream Amara never thought she would have. Then, everything changed. It started with a name. Vanessa. Vanessa was Daniel's ex-fiancée. They had been together for 4 years and engaged for 1. She had broken up with him 8 months ago, saying she needed space to find herself. She had moved to New York without looking back. Daniel had been heartbroken. That heartbreak was still fresh when he moved to Portland. When he met Amara. But now Vanessa was back. Amara found out through a photo on social media. A friend had tagged a picture from a hospital charity gala. There was Daniel, in a black suit, looking handsome, as always. And standing next to him, holding his arm, was a beautiful woman in a red dress. The caption said, "Dr. Daniel Okonkwo and Vanessa Reed at the Portland Children's Hospital Annual Gala." Amara stared at that photo for an hour. Who was this woman? Why was she holding Daniel's arm? Why did she look at him like she owned him? Amara did not call Daniel that night. She did not answer his texts. She told herself she was being silly. There had to be an explanation. But the old fears started creeping back. The voice in her head that said people always leave. The voice that said she was foolish to trust anyone. The next day, Daniel came to the bakery looking confused. He asked why she had not answered his calls. Amara tried to act normal, but she could not. She was cold and distant. Daniel kept asking what was wrong. She kept saying nothing. Meanwhile, her own stress was building. A famous food critic was coming to review her bakery next week. This was the biggest opportunity of her life. If the review was good, her little shop could become famous. If it was bad, she could lose everything. She had been preparing for months. Every recipe had to be perfect. Every detail had to be right. But now she could not focus. Every time she tried to bake, she saw that photo in her head. Daniel and Vanessa. Together. Days passed. The distance between Amara and Daniel grew. He did not understand what was happening. She did not tell him. She was too scared to ask about Vanessa. Too scared to hear the answer. Then, one night, Daniel showed up at her apartment. He looked tired and frustrated. "I do not know what I did wrong," he said. "But whatever it is, please just tell me. I cannot fix something if I do not know what is broken." Amara finally broke. "Who is Vanessa?" she asked. Her voice was shaking. Daniel's face changed. He looked shocked, then sad. "Vanessa is my ex," he said. "She came back to Portland last month. She showed up at the gala because her father is on the hospital board. I did not invite her. I did not even want to talk to her. But she would not leave me alone all night." Amara wanted to believe him. She really did. But the fear was too strong. "She wants you back," Amara said. "I can see it in her eyes in that photo. And maybe you want her back too." "That is ridiculous," Daniel said. "I love you. Not her. You." But Amara was not listening anymore. All the old wounds were open now. Her father leaving. Her ex cheating. Everyone she ever trusted hurting her. "Maybe we are fooling ourselves," she said. Her voice was cold. Maybe two broken people cannot build something whole. Daniel stared at her. She saw pain in his eyes. Real, deep pain. If that is what you believe, he said quietly, then maybe you are right. He turned and walked out into the rain. Amara watched him go. She told herself it was better this way. Easier. But as the door closed behind him, she felt her heart shatter into a million pieces. 2 months. 2 months of silence. 2 months of pretending everything was fine. 2 months of waking up every morning and reaching for a phone that never rang. Amara threw herself into work harder than ever before. She arrived at the bakery before sunrise and left long after sunset. She baked until her arms hurt. She cleaned until every surface was spotless. She did anything and everything to keep her mind busy. Because when she stopped, when she rested, even for a moment, all she could think about was him. The food critic had come and gone. The review had been bad. Not terrible, but not good either. The critic said the pastries were decent, but lacked heart. That the food tasted like it was made by someone going through the motions. Reading those words had felt like a punch to the stomach. Because the critic was right. Amara had lost her heart somewhere along the way. She had lost it the night Daniel walked out her door. Now she was thinking about selling the bakery. What was the point anymore? She had built this place to hide from the world, to protect herself from getting hurt. But she had gotten hurt anyway, and now everything just felt empty. On the other side of the city, Daniel was struggling too. He went to work every day. He performed surgeries. He smiled at his patients. He did everything a good doctor was supposed to do. But his colleagues could see the truth. The light in his eyes was gone. He moved through life like a ghost. His best friend at the hospital, a nurse named Grace, finally pulled him aside one afternoon. "You need to talk to her," Grace said. "Whatever happened between you two, you need to fix it. Because watching you like this is breaking my heart." Daniel shook his head. "She made her choice," he said. "She pushed me away. What am I supposed to do?" "Fight for her," Grace said simply. "If you love her, fight for her." But Daniel did not know how. Then one evening, something unexpected happened. A young woman walked into the hospital asking for Dr. Okonkwo. She was carrying a pink box that smelled like cinnamon and sugar. Daniel did not recognize her at first. Then she introduced herself. "My name is Lily," she said. Daniel took her to the hospital cafeteria. Lily opened the pink box and pushed a cinnamon roll toward him. She had tears in her eyes. "She is miserable," Lily said. "She does not eat. She does not sleep. She works herself half to death every day. And when she thinks no one is watching, she cries." Daniel felt his chest tighten. "The bakery review was bad," Lily continued. "She is thinking about selling the shop and moving away. Maybe to another city. Maybe to another state. She says she needs a fresh start." Daniel's heart dropped. Moving away? She was going to leave? "I know my sister," Lily said. "She pushes people away because she is terrified of being left. Our father did that to her. He left without saying goodbye, and she has never been the same. But you are not our father. You are not going to leave her. I can see it in your eyes. You love her." Daniel could not speak. He just nodded. "Then do not let her run away," Lily said. "She is scared. She needs someone to show her that love does not always end in pain. Someone who will stay, no matter what. Can you be that person?" Daniel looked at the cinnamon roll in front of him. It was exactly like the ones Amara used to save for him, the ones she made with extra frosting because she knew he liked it sweet. In that moment, everything became clear. He had spent 2 months waiting, 2 months respecting her space, 2 months hoping she would reach out first. But sometimes, love is not about waiting. Sometimes love is about being brave enough to take the first step. That night, Daniel sat down at his desk and did something he had never done before. He wrote her a letter. Not a text, not an email. A real letter, written by hand on paper. He poured everything into those words. His love, his fear, his hope, his promise. He sealed the envelope. He wrote her name on the front, and he prayed it would not be too late. The letter arrived on a Thursday evening. Amara had just come home from another long day at the bakery. Her feet hurt. Her back ached. Her heart felt heavier than ever. She was sorting through her mail when she saw it. A white envelope with her name written in handwriting she recognized immediately. Her hands started shaking. She sat down on her couch and stared at the envelope for a long time. Part of her wanted to tear it open. Part of her wanted to throw it away without reading it. She was scared of what was inside. Scared of feeling hope again, only to have it destroyed. But curiosity won. She opened the letter. Dear Amara. It began. I have written this letter 100 times in my head. I never knew the right words. I still do not know if these are the right words. But I have to try. She kept reading. The night I walked into your bakery and destroyed your cake was the best accident of my life. I was not looking for love. I was not looking for anything. But there you were, covered in buttercream, laughing instead of crying, and something in my heart woke up. Something I thought had died a long time ago. Tears started falling down Amara's cheeks. I know you are scared. I understand why. People have hurt you. People have left you. You built walls to protect yourself, and I do not blame you for that. But Amara, I am not going anywhere. I could have walked away 2 months ago and never looked back. But I cannot. Because every morning I wake up thinking about you. Every night I fall asleep, missing you. You are in my heart, and I do not want you to leave. She could barely see the words through her tears now. I am not asking you to forget your fears. I am asking you to be brave with me. Let me prove that not everyone leaves. Let me show you what it feels like to be loved by someone who will stay. Meet me at the pier. Friday night. 8 o'clock. The place where we had our first kiss. If you do not come, I will understand. But if there is any part of you that still believes in us, please come. The letter was signed with 3 simple words. I love you. Amara read the letter 5 times. She cried until she had no tears left. Then she sat in silence, holding the paper against her chest. Friday came. At 7:30, Amara stood in front of her mirror. She had changed her outfit 4 times. Her heart was beating so fast, she thought it might explode. Every fear told her to stay home, to protect herself, to keep her walls up. But love is braver than fear. She grabbed her keys and walked out the door. The pier was beautiful at night. The string lights were glowing softly, reflecting on the dark water below. It was the same place where they had shared their first kiss. The same place where she had let herself believe in love again. And there he was. Daniel stood at the end of the pier, holding a single sunflower. Her favorite flower. He looked nervous, hopeful, and terrified, all at the same time. Amara walked toward him slowly. Every step felt like a mile, but she kept going. She did not stop until she was standing right in front of him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Daniel reached out. Gently, softly, he slid his fingers through her hair. His touch was warm and tender. His eyes looked into hers with so much love that it took her breath away. And time froze. The world went silent. The lights seemed to glow brighter. Everything else disappeared. There was only him, only her, only this moment. I love you, he whispered. 3 words. So simple, so powerful. Amara felt the last wall around her heart finally crumble. All the fear, all the pain, all the years of protecting herself. None of it mattered anymore. I love you too, she whispered back. Daniel pulled her close. He held her like she was the most precious thing in the world. Because to him, she was. They stood there under the string lights. Two broken people who had found each other. Two wounded hearts that had finally healed. They did not know what the future would bring, but they knew one thing for certain. They would face it together, and that was enough. The end.